brightest star. The jungle is your head, can't rule your heart. A feeling so much stronger than I thought. Your eyes are wide and though your soul it can't.
All right, welcome to the Young Turks. Huge, awesome, fantastic show for you today. Third hour, we're going to have someone who wrote a book about Lockheed Martin. If you think you know something about defense contractors, you don't know nothing yet. Wait till you hear what's coming in the third hour. That's a great interview. The second hour, I have to confess it. Look, I'm doing the first hour. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be awesome. We got thrills, we got spills, we got chills. But the second hour is the one to watch today. So many great stories in there. The TYT Supreme Court is going to be in session. We're going to have a conversation about a bunch of kids beating up an older gentleman at a subway. What should the guy have done? Should he beat them back? It's going to be fantastic, okay? Supreme Court coming. I can't wait to hear JR's opinion on that. All right, in this hour, Republicans as terrorist sympathizers. I'm not playing. Okay, that is coming up a little bit later in this hour. Furthermore, and I'll have proof, and furthermore, Bill O'Reilly can't figure it out how the tides work, so he thinks it must be Jesus. That's great clips. All right, now, let's get started with updates from today. Number one, it is official. We have a new Chief of Staff, Habemus Papam, a new Chief of Staff for Barack Obama. Now, yesterday I had listed you the four options. Vilsack I had at the best option out of the remaining people, and all of these were conservative Democrats, but Vilsack apparently once said that he would listen to the grassroots. So we put him at the top of the list. Peter Rouse, who was the interim Chief of Staff, just because we don't know that much about him, came in at number 2. Number 3 was Tom Daschle, well-known lobbyist establishment figure in Washington. And number 4, the worst possible candidate, was William Daley. And of course, Barack Obama has selected William Daley. Of course! Of course he has. William Daley is an executive at J.P. Morgan. He was an executive at J.P. Morgan when they crashed, along with the rest of the economy. William Morgan, I'm sorry, that's a good Freudian slip. He is at this point William Morgan. But William Daley, who worked at J.P. Morgan, has resisted every one of Barack Obama's major legislative proposals, which I thought were incredibly weak to begin with. He thought were way too strong. Healthcare reform, way too strong for Daley. He thought it should have been watered down. He said, oh, the country's not that far left. Financial reform, oh, he hated it. Consumer Protection Agency, he wanted it killed. And as an executive at J.P. Morgan, he wrote the White House saying that they were making a big mistake by going in that direction. So every little decent thing that the Obama administration has done, William Daley has opposed. So the Obama administration over the next 2 years, if you had any hope at all, it is now official. Let's keep it real. Well, that's true too, but okay, it is done. Over. Progressive agenda, done. It can't be any more done than it already is. Obama, if anything, is going way to the right going forward. Picking Bill Daley is a way, one, it's a big white flag of surrender to the right wing, and second of all, it's telling the progressives, who are you kidding, man? I'm not a progressive. I'm going to pick a Wall Street guy to be my Chief of Staff, most important guy in the West Wing. What are you going to do about it now? Nothing, right? Well, that's true. Sit around for 2 years, Mr. President. Wait for that progressive base to show up for you. Let's see how that turns out. I could be wrong. Look, there are polls that are positive for Obama. He's searching. He thinks he's got this thing figured out. I think his only hope is a disastrous clown that faces him in the Republican Party. If he doesn't have the clown of the earth against him, I think he's in a lot of trouble. You think this Wall Street clown, William Daley, is going to be focused on creating jobs for real Americans? No, he's going to be focused on padding the pockets of his friends at J.P. Morgan and himself when he gets out of the administration, as Robert Gibbs is doing now and as Peter Orszag is doing, etc. Disaster. That's my conclusion. J.R. Jackson.
I just want to make sure, because that right before you pounded the gavel, I said this was your gavel moment. Yeah. If it happened, you went ahead and did. I want to make sure you follow through on your promise to everyone.
All right, so what do I have to follow through on?
No,
that's it. I'm done. I'm out.
You're done, 100%.
Yeah.
Not come back.
Yeah. No. It's inconceivable. Look, that's a strong word. Anything is conceivable, right? But if William Daley all of a sudden, despite decades of his record of being one of the more right-wing Democrats, certainly enormously corporate-friendly Democrats, all of a sudden turns into a progressive? I mean, I guess, like, maybe there are werewolves in the world. Maybe there are ghouls and goblins. There's Mitch McConnell. You never know.
It sounds bad, but then he'd have to convince Obama to be progressive with
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, good luck on that. Oh, to give you a sense of how bad it is, Howard Feynman, who's been working in Washington as a reporter for a long, long time, was with Newsweek, now with Huffington Post, has described William Daley as double the Rahm. So if you thought Rahm Emanuel was bad, and he's not, and Feynman isn't saying Rahm Emanuel is bad, I'm saying it. He's saying this is double the Rahm, okay? By the way, you know who trained Rahm Emanuel? William Daley. You know who trained David Axelrod? William Daley. He's from Chicago. He was their mentor. If you thought it was going to get better, look, and I'll give you the other side. You know, there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, William Daley's an adult. He will have adult conversations. He'll talk to people. He won't shut them out as Rahm Emanuel did. I guess that's an improvement. Howard Dean is hopeful on that count. But I think they're kidding themselves. He's going to be like, oh, yeah, because he's a little savvier than Rahm, right? Instead of pissing everybody off, he's going to be like, oh, really, Howard? Oh, that's fascinating. Well, I could make millions by deregulating and then the economy crashed later, or I can make bupkis and nothing and look out for the average American. Yeah, no, Howard, yeah, I'm on that. Yeah, all right, look, I'll get back to you on that, okay? Look, I tell you all the time, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Out of the candidates, as usual, Barack Obama picked the one that was most conservative, most establishment, most pro-Wall Street, and most right-wing. JR, you want me to do it again? There's no hope, man. Obama's not going to do the right thing. It's done. Okay. Now we turn to the Republicans, you know. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right of me. So their first act is to repeal health care. We've talked about this before. They've got a law. And the Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, which the Republicans have quoted ad nauseum over the last 2 years when it had numbers that they liked about the cost of health care reform or the cost of many other things that the administration proposed. Well, it has come out and said if you do repeal health care reform exactly in the way that the Republicans are envisioning, our best estimate is that it will actually cost $230 billion to the deficit over the next actually 12 years because of the way that it is structured, right? And so it was $145 billion for 10 years because of some extra changes in the law, and the extra 2 years it becomes $230 billion. Congressional Budget Office just put that number out, and the Republicans react, of course, by saying, Congressional Budget Office. Who listens to those guys? Numbers. Come on, get out of here. Here's John Boehner's quote. Quote, there's no one that believes that the Washington Democrats' job-killing health care law will lower costs because it won't. There's no one who believes that except the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, which you quote all the time. In other words, the people who do the calculations. You just said, well, you know, that's the Republican way. It just says it. No. Those are the numbers and facts. In reality, I say otherwise. In fact, they're going to do that with Greta Van Susteren. All right? She's going to have David Dreier on about another promise they made about openness in the Congress. Now, in this same health care repeal, they were not allowing any amendments or any changes. So she calls them out on it. Credit to Greta. Let's see how it goes. Clip number 6.
But what happened to the Republican promises of change, transparency, cooperation? Our next guest should know he's Republican Congressman David Dreier, the incoming chairman of the Rules Committee. Good evening, sir.
Nice to be with you. Happy New Year, Greta.
Happy New Year to you. And so what's the story? You promised that there would be amendments to the rules, and right out of the box, you're not doing it.
Well, let me tell you what we're doing. We promised the American people that we would, coming right out of the chute, repeal the job-killing health care bill that has been before us. What we're doing is, as we vote to repeal it, first on the rule on Friday, and then a 3-day layover so that everyone can have a chance to look at it. We'll be voting the middle of next week on it. And then we direct the committees to go through an amendment process and then come to the Rules Committee and have that kind of free-flowing debate. So we have a one-sentence measure that repeals repeals the bill itself. We've said we'd have a more open process. We've just gone through the most...
Why don't you do it? Why don't you just...
We are.
No.
We are.
The fact is you have a bill, or you're going to file a bill to repeal the health care.
A one-sentence bill.
I don't care if it's 7 sentences, 2,800 pages like that.
We're used to 2,800-page bills. You know that, Greta.
But you promised. This is what you promised.
What
and so right out of the box, you're not doing it.
Greta,
why don't you just do
Greta,
it?
we promised a more open process, and that's exactly what we're going to have.
You know, I love the Republicans because faced with reality, here's a Fox News host saying you're not doing it, right? He says, well, we are. But wait a minute, are you allowing amendments? No. Are you allowing any changes? No. Are you doing the openness that you promised? No. But we are. If you don't like reality, just claim otherwise. And by the way, have you already noticed the talking point? The job-killing health care bill, right? What evidence do they have that it's killed any jobs? What evidence? None. Who cares? You don't need evidence. You just need a talking point. Greta's going to bust them up again, believe it or not. Let's watch the next clip.
What I'm talking about is the process and the message you're sending.
Greta, you are going to be very, very impressed with the process that you're going to see.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not. I'm frankly.
You're going to be. You may not be right now, but you will.
Frankly, I'm not impressed with when you make a promise. And everyone's
the promise was for a more open process. There was never a commitment made that this bill itself would be considered under a completely open amendment process. There was a commitment.
I don't think, you know what, I think most people have a different perspective of what the Republicans are now saying. And I don't think it would hurt you. And I think it would probably buy a lot of credibility if right from the get-go you played it totally straight.
You want to join our Rules Committee staff and provide some advice and counsel to me up there, Greta?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, he said, look, we promised an open process generally. We didn't promise it specifically in this bill, so we won't do the open process on this one. On the next one, I think you will be very impressed. Hey, credit to Greta for not being impressed and calling him out on his bullshit. Okay, nicely done, Greta. All right, now we continue with that load of BS. Now we go to remember they made the promise, okay, first year, that's it, instantly. First year, we're going to cut $100 billion from the budget. And here comes the backpedal, clip number 5.
It is going to happen, Brett, and it's a matter of looking at it in a calendar year.
So you wrote this, $100 billion in the first year alone.
Yeah.
Now we are being told by several Republicans that it's probably not going to be that, maybe half that, $50 to $60 billion.
But what you're taking there is because of the way the fiscal year works. We said within the year, and because half the fiscal year is over, they can't get to the point.
That doesn't save as much money because half the year is over, half the money's been spent by the administration already, and then when the fiscal 2012 budget comes up, we're going to be cutting.
So if you move what we have proposed and do it today, then you'll save less money because it's happening today instead of September.
So how much do you hope to save?
Oh, I think between $50 and $60 billion.
And so, again, had we done it when we wanted to do it, it would have been $100 billion. It might be 2/3 of the savings.
Nonsense. I love the excuse of the fiscal year. No, we meant fiscal year. We're stuck in the middle of this fiscal year. What can we do? Wait till 2012. Then you'll really be impressed by what we maybe theoretically do there. They already told the New York Times that $100 billion number was theoretical and hypothetical. They're not going to do it, okay? And look, I'll give them a whole year. I'll give them a whole fiscal year, whatever they like. They're not going to do it. They're not coming out here and telling you this because of the difference between fiscal year and regular year. They're doing it because they know they can't cut, and they don't want to make the cuts until 2012, maybe. Instantly going back on the words. And my favorite was that guy who was like, all right, Republicans, what are you going to do with them? All right, well, the man who has bought the Republicans was there on Capitol Hill to celebrate. His name is David Koch. He's one of the Koch brothers. He's a billionaire. He's the founder of Americans for Prosperity and many other think tanks in Washington. And these guys give a tremendous amount of money to the politicians and to leaders like Dick Armey, et cetera, to organize the Tea Parties to get out there, and they're the ones who pay for the buses and the signs and the protests and all of that infrastructure to make sure that the Tea Party suckers wind up doing the bidding of these billionaires. Okay, and they've been enormously successful. Well, Think Progress caught up with him He was just getting out of speaking with Representative John Boehner. John Boehner was having a celebration for becoming Speaker of the House. And, of course, his boss was there, David Koch, to say, good job, son. And he was also congratulating Representative Frank Gunta from New Hampshire, who's a freshman Republican that Koch gave a lot of money to and got elected. So, he's as happy as he could be. So Think Progress catches up with him. Let's watch.
Hi, sir. My name is Lee Fong. I'm with the blog Think Progress. I'm just asking what you're expecting from the new Congress.
Well, cut the hell out of spending and balance the budget and reduce regulations and support business.
David Lee here is a good blogger on the left. We're glad to have you. No more interviews.
Just a quick interview. Are you proud of what Americans for Prosperity has achieved this year?
You bet I am. Man, oh man, we're going to do more too in the next couple of years. You know.
What are you planning on doing? What are your goals?
I just told you what we hope the Congress will do, and he's going to support that.
Lee's from Amherst County, Virginia, where my sister and brother-in-law live. He's an old friend. You've been to a bunch of our events. What are you finding today? You tell us what you're finding.
I'm speaking to a lot of congressmen, and I'm curious to know, Mr. Koch, are you proud of the Tea Party movement and what they've achieved in the past year?
Yeah, there's some extremists there, but the rank and file are just normal people like us. And I admire them. It's probably the best grassroots uprising since 1776.
Well, he inadvertently there told you the truth. He said they're, good regular folks just like us billionaires. Remember, he's a billionaire that funds all of this, right? And he's also, by the way, a massive polluter. And that's why he hates regulation. He runs oil companies, and they have been sued over and over for the pollution that they spread throughout the environment. And he doesn't like those rules. He's also a guy who doesn't like paying the highest income bracket, and he likes his taxes lowered. So he's as happy as he can be that the Republicans won. He says, these Tea Party guys are just like us. Who's us, David? Who's us? Billionaires like yourself? By the way, did you see his friend there, the protector? Oh, watch out, this guy, he's from a liberal Think Progress. Watch out. By the way, Tim Phillips, who was with David Koch there, is former business partners to Jack Abramoff. All the lovely folks were there. JR.
There was a lot of underlying things said right there with the assistant, Tim Williams, that was his name?
Tim Phillips.
Tim Phillips. The glances, the certain looks you give, and Lee lives in this part. He's from this part of Virginia where my brother and sister-in-law live. Like a total, giving you background real fast. I couldn't tell you who this guy was before we walked up to him, but this is who he is. Hey Lee, we know who you are. We know where you're always going to be. And and you're always at our events, right? And as soon as there was a slight little change of tone that David Koch had, where he said, "Well, I already told you," and then his boy was like, "Oh, is he about to say something that we don't want him to say?" I'm like, wait, I need to stop him from saying something. He's gonna be mad at me. He's gonna be mad at me when we leave. It's just it's so on edge to protect him from saying the truth so much. It's just that you can see a level of BS underneath everything that's said.
Oh, I know, and I love that guy, man. I love the protector, as you called him, his boy, right? He said, "Oh, this is Lee. We got information on him. You want his phone number at home? We tapped that shit. You got it. Oh, don't say anything. Oh my God. Oh, okay, we're gonna be all right. Oh God, we made it out of there." Well, Dave Koch, you know what he's like? He's like Boss Hogg in Dukes of Hazzard. Okay, I mean, he's a comic book character. He's the one that had earlier said that, oh, Tea Party people. Oh, what name so? I don't know, Tea Party people. I don't know nothing about Tea Party folks. And then we caught him on tape where he was saying, oh, thank God we funded all the Tea Party groups, right? And after they ran the tape, all of a sudden he's like, well, they're good. There's some extremes, but they're very, very good, yeah. Regular folks like us. Regular folks like us. One more thing about the Koch brothers. And I forget if it was David or his brother. They gave a funny speech to their credit once about how they made their money, right? And they said, look, if you work hard and you study and you do well in school and you start a business, and then your dad dies and gives you $300 million, well, you'd be just like us. Because that's what happened to the Koch brothers. Their dad was enormously wealthy, gave them $300 million. Now, they've converted that into billions, to be fair to them, right? By buying politicians, polluting, and I'm probably doing some good business. I don't know. I don't know all of their business dealings, but I know that what they do with politicians, and it's hideous. And our system allows for it. And that's what's actually much more troubling. There'll always be the Koch brothers. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to let them run our government, or are we going to have a democracy? All right, come right back. We got a lot more for you.
TYT!
Yeah!
JR is playing my favorite song right now.
Oh,
Black and Yellow. No, this song is so good because there's one part where he goes like, you know what it is. Everything I do it big. Who doesn't love that?
Okay, this is like her 8th favorite song in a row. All right, I'm going to start with the most random personal story. Edwinuman, our intern, came to my house yesterday helping me with my computer, right?
Unsurprising.
Yeah, of course. All right, and first of all, Edwin says, you live in a ghetto, right? Okay, no, and I told him about what Jesus had said, because Jesus said, you know what this is? This is projects for the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's not upper class. It's not quite projects for the middle class, right? And I told Edwin that, and he's like, oh, totally. He's like, this is middle class ghetto. Okay, yeah, and he's like, this place is amazing, right? And then, but things don't work, the elevators don't work, et cetera, but then you get up, it's a nice view. He's like, oh, I get it, that's why it's middle class, nice view. Okay, anyway, then he looks at my computer. He's like, geez, Lord mercy, how long have you had this computer?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know, 8 years. He's like, oh man, what they say about your cheapness is true.
Wow, it was like, making fun of Jank Hour.
Oh, totally. He's like, do you know how many gigabytes this computer has? He's like, it's comical. It has like 37. And apparently they have 500 these days or something. I don't know, right? And there's like 2 gigabytes left. That's why it's not working, among other things. And then he's like, you have the world's worst virus on there. I'm like, really? He's like, your computer has been compromised. It's been compromised. Get off of it. Right? And by the way, the gigabytes, I had it amped up a couple of years ago. And I'm like, don't I have the antivirus thing? He's like, that ran out 2 years ago.
Jank's car, Jank's home computer.
Oh, I went and tried to get my windows fixed today, right? Because my windows out of my car just fell out. Okay, they just fell right into the door. And of course, they're expensive. So I got the one I needed on the passenger side fixed. And the other one, I just told him to glue it so that it doesn't move. It's true. It turns out you are true. That's my computer.
Jake's got a middle-class street cred.
Middle-class street cred, that's right. That's funny. All right. Anyway, now, on to our fun stories. No, at Charity Water update, real quick.
Yes, an incredible Charity Water update. I love this. Okay, our first goal was to build one well, just one well, $5,000. All right, we met that goal. Okay, no problem. TYT Army came in, they dominated. And then we're like, all right, fine. Let's go for maybe 2 wells. Let's see how we do with that. 2 wells, done. Then we needed 3 wells. Come on, 3 wells. Are we really going to raise $15,000?
That's $15,000. That's crazy
too much money.
We can't make that. No.
Except we did. 3 wells. How incredible is that? We've already built 3 wells somewhere in the world where people do not have access to clean, safe drinking water.
And by the way,
amazing.
And those wells will say on them, TYT Army.
Yeah.
Okay, which is really, really cool. Much more cool is that hundreds of people will have clean water for 20 years because we built those 3 wells, which is great. How do we finish it off?
Okay, so I just want to tell you how much we have raised in total. We're up to $15,365. Okay, and the reason why we hit $15,000 recently is because we had one big donor by the name of Onkar Gill. He donated $1,139.
By the way, nobody else raises money for charity while using a German barbarian saying, you damn dirty dogs. You get nice charity water. But seriously, Gil, that's unbelievable, man.
And you know what's awesome
about it? He did it to finish off the 3rd well.
Yeah, it's incredible. And he, of course, is one of the big donors. Jordan French was another one who donated well over $1,000. And, you know, there are also donors who donated a couple $100, which are incredible. There are some donors who donated $5, and that's incredible. Any little bit helps, and it's amazing that you guys took the time and the energy to do it, that you guys care enough to do it. And what I love the most is if you go to Charity Water or revision3.com/charitywater and you click on the TYT logo, you can see all of the donations, and you could also see all of the comments people are leaving. And the comments are so awesome. There was one person who anonymously donated a couple $100. I think it was $250. And he or she said, "Cenk for president."
Calm down, bring it down, bring it down. On the other hand, okay. By the way, they got me so pumped up because the most common comment was TYT Army's too strong. So when I did my second donation, I was like, too strong. I love you guys. All right, great job, man. I'm very proud to be associated with all you guys. I'm serious. I know we're goofy and corny, but we love you. All right.
All right, I want to start with a couple updates on Ted Williams, the man with the golden voice. So yesterday we talked about how he was offered several different jobs, and now MSNBC has officially hired him to do voiceover work. In fact, we have a video showing him doing a voiceover for MSNBC, and it's so incredible, and he has tears in his eyes while he's doing it. Let's watch the video. Is coming.
And the man with the golden pipes. 2 days ago, Ted Williams was homeless. Now, thanks to this viral video and his amazing voice, the job offers are pouring in. And he's even helping us out today, Thursday, January 6th, 2011.
From NBC News, this is Today with Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira. Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And welcome today on this Thursday.
So that's a little taste of Ted Williams.
Right. Now, that was for NBC, right? But MSNBC has officially hired him. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll get, now, Cenk Uygur on MSNBC.
How awesome would that be if you got to meet him?
By the way, I love how this guy who was homeless 2 days ago, now it'd be like, oh my God, could you imagine if I got to meet Ted Williams?
No, but can we
Which
talk
is
about
funny
that?
but true. You know, it's kind of funny. It's great.
No, but that's the incredible thing about YouTube and viral videos.
Right.
It'll take a nobody and turn them into someone big. And I'm not saying he's a nobody, but I'm saying somebody
he was
who's
homeless.
unknown.
No, of
someone
course,
who's
right.
unknown.
By the way, we've been busting our ass on YouTube for 4 years.
I know.
Right? Some of my bitch in one day skyrocket. What happened to us? No, I'm playing. We love the guy.
Right.
By the way, you know, it's also interesting. You know, images are a fascinating thing, right? And it gives you a sense, you know, people have reactions based on that. When he was homeless, you know, he had the long hair and he had the scruff and he looked like a little scarier, etc. All you need is shower, shave, he looks great. You know what I'm saying? And God, how much of a difference that makes in people's impressions, right? So, yes.
I just look forward for the story after Cenk spends another week filling in. And he says, I met Ted in the hallway, and I said, hey, Ted. He's like, excuse me, wait.
So, now, hold on now.
I'm talking to someone for real. Now, hold on.
He's like, hold on, man. I'm talking to Willie Geist over here. Okay, step back. Could you imagine if it got to his head? Oh, it would be disastrous.
It'd be funny.
No, it would be, but I hope not. Anyway.
All right, one more Ted Williams update. So he was excited about all of this newfound fame because it was going to give him the opportunity to go to New York and see his mother after 20 years of being apart. And he had a little trouble flying. He was going to take a plane to New York. Since he's been homeless for the past 4 years, he didn't have any identification. So they didn't allow him to board the flight. He had to go to a courthouse, get his birth certificate, and prove his identity before he could finally get on the plane to go meet his mom. But he did.
I feel like he's lived 2 lifetimes in 2 days. How did he do all this in 2 days?
I know, it's incredible. Okay. It's incredible. But he did meet his mom, and we have a video of their reunion. I'm warning you, it might make you a little teary-eyed.
Uh-oh. You know how I am. All right.
Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. I know I feel the same way, Mommy. I love you, Mother. I've been wanting to see you for the past hours, and it seemed like everybody... Hi, Mommy, I'm home. I told you I was coming this year. Yeah. Hi, I don't look the best, but I'm home. I got a haircut. I love you, Mommy.
I love you too, son.
Please don't disappoint. I'm not, Mom. I'm not. I'm through with it all. God, this happened for me. You always told me to pray. Yes, to pray. And I've been praying, Mommy. What's going on?
I love you, sweetheart.
I love you, Mother.
All right.
All right.
So that was a really sweet video. The only part that wasn't so sweet is when she's like, please don't disappoint me.
Yeah, she wasn't playing, man. She's 92, and she's like, listen, I remember the other times. These some of them bitches don't know the other times, right? Because as he said, he was on very hard times, you know, because of the addictions, etc. So she's been through a lot. But look, it's a good story. It's a great story. By the way, it was one lib who was a downer on all this, okay? Okay, David Sirota, who I really like, okay? Yeah.
What did David Sirota say?
Yeah, no, and he makes a good point. He does, okay? He's like, Quicken Loans are the people who run the Cavaliers, apparently, okay? And the Cavaliers offered him a job. They were the first ones to offer them the job, and that's snowballing, etc. And they're the ones that gave him the house. So they're like, oh my God, Quicken Loans gives him a house. Dave did research and found out that Quicken Loans is one of the people that are doing the most foreclosures in the country. Like they gave all these shady loans, and now they're foreclosing the hell out of all these homes. So while they're behind the cameras kicking all these people out the door, they're like, well, we gave a house to Ted Williams!
Of course. This is a great PR move for them. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Totally. So, I mean, Sirota had to go and be a downer with facts. We're trying to, you know, celebrate an American success story here. All right. Anyway, fun for everybody, and we're still happy with Ted Williams, no matter what Sirota says. Okay, what's next?
All right, I also wanted to give you guys an update on a story we did yesterday about the Lower Marian School District. We talked about how actually 8 African-American families are suing the school district because the schools allegedly wrongfully classified their students as special ed kids, when in reality they were completely fine. And you know, these families are saying that the school district did it as a way to segregate their schools. So keep all the white kids in the regular classes and place all the black kids in special ed classes, right?
Right. And yesterday I said, look, that's an interesting case. We don't know which way it would go, but that they should keep it as a class action lawsuit instead of bringing it up into individual kids, because then you get a better sense of if there was systemic discrimination or not. But we didn't have a judgment on whether there was or there wasn't, right?
Right.
Well, we have new facts for you.
We do have new facts. According to the lawsuit, there are only about 7.5% black students in Lower Marian schools. So there are 6,800 students in Lower Marian. Only 7.5% of them are black. When it comes to their remedial classes, 90% are full of black students.
Oh, come on. That case is open and shut. Okay, when Anna dug up that fact, actually last night after the show, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You know, yesterday we're open-minded and you don't know why it might not be discrimination. You know, you got to see the numbers, etc. 7.5% of the kids are black in the school district and 90% of the kids in the remedial classes are black. What they're doing is they're taking all the black kids and go, oh, yeah, remedial classes. Separate but equal. You
know, Lower Marian School District has been in a lot of controversy lately. In fact, if you guys can remember the laptop story where the school administrators and teachers were handing out laptops to their students with webcams, and then they were using those laptops to spy on their students while they were at home.
Oh, yeah, and you remember that story where they were like, oh, no, in case the laptops were stolen, then we were looking to see maybe who might have had them, except then we found out later, as we totally predicted on air, that wasn't true at all. In fact, they were looking in on kids in their bedrooms for laptops that were not at all stolen, and they were watching them, okay? It's official now.
They settled that case, by the way, for $610,000.
Right, because they were guilty. It's official. Lower Marian School District, by far the shadiest school district in the country. J.R. Jackson.
Oh, worst thing of all, I don't know if forget about this. They produced Kobe Bryant. Forget all the rest of that stuff. Forget everything else. Kobe Bryant went to Lower Marian. Oh,
now JR hates the Lakers. For him, that's 3 strikes and you're out, Lower Marian. All right, man. That's seriously, man. People gotta look into that school. There's something wrong at that school. There's some seriously messed up dudes running that school system.
Yeah, and there was another controversy involved with the black community in Pennsylvania. Lower Marian School District created or built 2 brand new schools, and they were trying to decide who was going to go to these fancy brand new schools, right? So what they decided to do was redistrict the school district so they can decide which students get to go to these new schools. They drew a line right in the center of a black community in the school district.
Mm-hmm.
So half of the students, half of the black students in that area were forced to be bused 30 minutes to a different school rather than walk to the new school.
Shadiest school district in the country.
How do you do that? So there was
I mean, how obvious does it have to be? And by the way, in that story yesterday, the judge said no class action suit. Well, I will see these one by one to see if there was maybe discrimination, you know, without considering anything else in that specific case. That doesn't make any sense at all. No, but don't worry, Barack Obama's president. There's no more discrimination in the country.
Get that chip off your shoulder,
Yeah,
as Dr. Laura would say.
Yeah, I like the way you said it, though. That was kind of like...
Really?
Yeah, get that chip off. All right. Mistress Kasparian, I will do whatever you say. Okay, all right. What's next?
All right. There was a school shooting in Omaha, Nebraska. A high school senior at the Millard South High School shot the principal there and the vice principal, and then he shot himself in a car and died. The principal of the school survived. He's in the hospital under stable condition. But Vicky Kaspar, the vice principal, did not survive. She died.
Yeah, it's tragic. And the kid says he moved there recently and he hated what was going on in Omaha. I mean, that's not why you shoot folks.
Right.
That's crazy.
I actually want, the thing that makes this story a little more interesting is the fact that prior to the shooting, he updated his Facebook with, you know, a chilling status update, right? So we have his status update for you guys. I want to read it to you. He says, "Everybody that used to know me, I'm sorry, but Omaha changed me and fucked me up. And the school I attend is even worse. You're going to hear about the evil shit I did, but that fucking school drove me to this. I want you guys to remember me for who I was before this, I know. I greatly affected the lives of the families ruined, but I'm sorry, goodbye." So that was his status update, and then he went to the school and did what he did.
In his previous school, they said he was cheery and popular, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he had only been at the school for 2 months, the Millard South High School. And he was known as the prankster of the school. He would get in trouble by teachers, but he never displayed any sort of anger. In the school he went to before, the principal from that school says, yeah, he was popular, everyone loved him, he seemed very happy. So there is a possibility that he moved to the new school and he was having a hard time transitioning. There's
no,
so
but
many
you know
things.
what? Look, I'm not going to go on a long rant on it. But look, kids have had a hard time transitioning to schools throughout the history of time.
Right, of course.
And in the old days, they'd get mad and maybe they'd toilet paper the principal's house. Now they go and shoot the principal. And they can do that, why? Because they have guns, right? Now, here's what you can't kill a principal with: toilet paper, okay? But I know guns don't kill people. The kids who have them kill people. Keep the guns away from the kids.
You know,
Come on.
I want to clarify something really quick. So yesterday we did this whole rant about, you know, guns and just how our culture is obsessed with guns. You know, and of course we got a little bit of pushback from people who watch the show, and I can understand that pushback. But I think one thing that people are having a hard time understanding is, well, me personally, I'm not calling for a ban on guns. I hate guns. I don't want to use guns, but I don't want to ban guns for everyone else. However, we have to have stricter regulations. I don't understand people who argue against that. How could you not want stricter regulations?
No, because they say, no, what are you talking about, man? I need to have 78 guns. My 77 guns are just not sufficient. What if a herd of deer comes by? You think I just kill one with my 77 guns? No, I need that 78th one with the extra trigger lock, something lock, something killer, something. Okay.
We cannot allow people to buy guns at gun shows from the back of a truck without any type of documentation, without registering the gun. It's unacceptable.
No, Anna, if you 18 years old, you better wait till, you know, you're 21 to drink. But you want to buy an Uzi. Hey, let's have fun. They'll say, oh, no, you can't buy an Uzi. You don't know anything about guns. You can only buy a howitzer or a Kalashnikov or something. You keep provoking me. You want to keep going?
I'm sorry. No, let's not keep going. How about we take a break? When we come back, oh, we have so many awesome stories. We have a real-life superhero. I'm not kidding. We have a video proving it.
Okay, and we have a flip-flop controversy, okay? Obama versus Bush footgear, all right? And then plus, the story of the day, the kids that were beating up a guy on the subway, and what should that guy have done, okay? J.R. Jackson will regulate. Yeah, sure.